In 2022, Marcel Jacobs ran 9.80 seconds and took the gold in the Olympic finals. He is currently the fastest man in the world, and he is stated to run 9.4 seconds in a 100-meter dash during practice, which by far passes Usain Bolt's 100-meter record at 9.58 seconds. Since he's currently leading the nation in the 60-meter dash, he seems like he's on track to be the fastest man of 2023. For the longest time, Christian Coleman and Noah Lyles were leading the scene, and now we're wondering, who is this guy and how is he so fast? In this video, I'm going to teach you the science of how Marcel Jacobs is the fastest man in the world today. My name is Justin, and I'm better known as Just Jamari on Instagram. I work with hundreds of athletes for sprints and vertical jumps, and even some NFL coaches. I'm going to show you how he runs so fast by giving an analysis of his best races, his training program, what his upbringing and genetics look like, and the possibility of him actually breaking Usain Bolt's record in the 100-meter dash. Now we're going to cover his two best races of all time: the Olympic finals 100-meter dash and the indoor world championships 60-meter dash. In the indoor 60-meter championships, he actually didn't start that well compared to his competition, but he stayed true to his dry phase and kept pushing to develop his momentum for later in the race. The science well states that the more you focus on power versus getting out very fast in the start, the better you'll be able to develop momentum for later in the race after the acceleration phase. Think of it like a slingshot. One person cocked back the slingshot and released it second, and the other person released it first, but he rushed the entire process of the slingshot. The person who released it second actually ended up shooting the ball much farther than the first person. Then the person who rushed the slingshot actually went nowhere. The momentum he built allowed him to relax and edge out first place at the very end. The science shows that it is important to stay relaxed at the end of the race, because the more tense you are, the tighter your muscles will be. Then when your muscles are tight, you produce less force into the ground, which is literally how you actually project yourself down the track. Now Noah to actually start transitioning up to his top end speed phase. Then he focused on keeping his posture tall and putting his feet under his center of mass the entire time. Before you knew it, he was running across the track with a gold medal under his belt. It's obvious that 6'1", he's not going to have the most blazing start like someone like Christian Coleman, who's around 5'7". But the benefits to his height is that he can almost hawk down anyone due to his elasticity and vertical power down the track. Adding on to that point, it took him 45 steps to cover the entire 100-meter dash. It also took Matthew Bowling 45 steps to run his 9.9 when he was in high school. This shows that Marcel Jacobs has a considerable amount of vertical force in his lower limbs, the most important of those muscles being the glutes, the hip extensors, and the quads. Now that we know what he is made of, let's talk about what made him be so great at track. His program consisted of a lot of interesting methods, but also a lot of cut and dried old school methods. Marcel Jacobs was seen doing a lot of block starts, resisted sprints, hurdle hops, and a lot of high intensity plyometrics frequently throughout the week. I suggest for my athletes that you do this high intensity plyometric work 1 to 2 times a week with a lot of rest in between every sprint and jump. In the weight room, we did a lot of simple work like hang clings for power development and goblet squats for injury reduction. Then some more auxiliary work with the leg extensions and hamstring curls, which aid with injury reduction as well. This overall is a pretty balanced program. There's nothing too crazy in it. I suggest doing this maybe 1 to 2 times a week if you were to copy these exercises. That consisted of day 1, day 2, and day 3 of his workouts when he was in the off season. Make sure to smack the like button if you made it this far, and trust me, it's about to get real good. The most important part of Marcel Jacobs' success is his upbringing. First, his father was an African-American U.S. soldier for the United States Army. His mother is from Italy, where he met his father and actually had Marcel Jacobs. At the age of 10, Marcel Jacobs actually begun his training and started competing at a very young age, going to track meets and training very frequently. This is the most important part. If you aren't constantly competing with yourself and challenging your own times, trying to beat them, you're actually going to see zero progress when it comes to running faster. And as you can see, Marcel Jacobs has been doing this since he was 10. Most of the best sprinters in the world actually started at a young age, and they got extremely fast because they're competing over and over and over again from such a young age. The reason why this actually makes you faster is because you're training your central nervous system to be more explosive due to instant feedback, whether you won or lost or ran a faster time or didn't. The more time you actually compete, the better your nervous system is at firing all your neurons, which is pretty much your ability to produce force at a very fast rate. Now, these Marcel Jacobs drastically improves his start. There's almost no chance that he will be able to even break break the 9.7 range. At Usain Bolt's peak, his 10-meter fly was actually 0.81 seconds. So he had amazing top end speed, but then he added an amazing 0 to 30 meter dash, which was his block start. Marcel Jacobs still has another 0.22 seconds to catch Usain Bolt in his 100-meter time, and the 9.4 seconds he ran with the wind at practice is not enough evidence to prove that he can. I know you guys remember when Justin Gatlin ran 9.45 seconds with wind at practice, but was never able to break 9.74 seconds in the 100-meter dash at an actual meet. At 6'1", 185 pounds, Marcel Jacobs isn't small, but he isn't that big. So make sure you watch why Olympic sprinters are smaller, but still faster than you right here.